What's the greatest obstacle or challenge facing you on your path to becoming financially free? For most of us, it's the time it takes to even focus on it. We're so busy with our lives that we don't even know where to start. Come join Joey and I and the team in Nashville, Tennessee, August 9th through the 11th, as we break down the different ways that you can become financially free and introduce you to different strategies and speakers who can help you on that first step.
You have questions? This event is designed to give you the answers, to take action fast, to turn the decades it's taken us to learn this and turn them into days. Don't hesitate. Go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/live. And don't forget to use the promo code podcast to get a deep discount.
Wealth Without Wall Street Tribe, so glad to introduce you to our friend Brian Carruthers. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here with you guys.
Awesome. Well, Brian, it's not like you came from this amazing pedigree in the real estate world and you had it just handed to you. Like, this is the world was your oyster as it relates to real estate, and yet you chose a different path. Talk to us about what maybe set you on a different path.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me here. And I hope that me sharing a little bit about my story can be of great benefit to some of the listeners. I'm a big believer in the road less traveled. If you do what everybody else is doing, you're going to get what everybody else is getting. So if you want what everybody else has, then just copy them. You got the 3%ers and the 97%ers. If you want what the 3% have, take a look what the 97%ers are doing and do the exact opposite. So when I came home from Villanova with an accounting degree, I put it on my wall. It was nice to have, but I never used it. So some people are sold on the notion of I need to go spend multiple six figures for 4 years at college to get a degree, to go out and trade it in the marketplace for somebody to tell me what my value is. And then I got to be under their thumb for the next 40 years. So that was not of interest to me. Nothing wrong with that. It just was not my path. That's the traveled path. I want a different path. And then so I got into our family real estate company. My parents had built an initial company years before, sold it for a massive amount of money to Merrill Lynch, and then opened the doors again years later. And I got into real estate, right out of school. And I was willing to work my butt off. I was making six figures at an early age. And, by the time I was 24, so I was doing well there. But also, like the many tens of thousands or hundreds or millions of real estate agents over the years, you find yourself kind of stuck on a never-ending treadmill going nowhere fast. And that's kind of where I was. I was grinding it out day after day, week after week, year after year. And you could have a stellar real estate year. But guess what? January 1, you're first and 10 all over again. It's a never-ending grind. And so I experienced that all throughout my 20s. And so what happened to me is a real estate agent came into my office in 1998 and introduced me during an interview. I was trying to recruit him to come work for a real estate company. And he tells me about how he's marketing this legal plan to his clients and friends. And I had no interest in hearing anything about it. But I was going to placate him to listen to him so I can show interest so that he would maybe want to come work with me in real estate.
You got to at least hear him out if you want him to come work for you. You're like, okay, right. Yeah. Just keep going. Go on.
Yeah. So he explains what this legal service does. And at the end of his little pitch, I'm like, hold on, you mean to tell me if I got a speeding ticket, these law firms are going to have an attorney go to traffic court and fight it to keep the points off my record so my insurance won't go up? He said, yep, won't cost you anything. I'm like, you mean if I got a lawsuit brought against me, they'll defend me in court for a civil suit? He said, yep. If I got an IRS audit, they'll give me a tax attorney to handle the audit? He said, yep. I said, if I want to have a letter written or a phone call made to somebody that's not acting right on the other side of a debate or a dispute, they'd write the letters, make phone calls, and they won't charge me? He said, yep. I said, if I want to get my will and my power of attorney and my living will, all that estate planning done, they'll do that for me. And they're not going to charge me the typical $1,000. He said, exactly. I said, and this is month to month? There's no contract? He goes, no. I'm like, why in the world would anybody not get that service? He goes, well, I'm signing people up left and right. I said, well, you're signing me up right now too. Sign me up. So he signs me up and he says, you realize, Brian, that I just got paid a couple $100 for signing you up. But more importantly, I'm going to get paid every month for the rest of your life, even if we never talk again. I said, come again? How's that work? He said, it's residual income. I said, well, please explain. And he said, Brian, in our real estate profession, every time we sell a house, we get a nice big commission check. But then we're unemployed until we have another closing. And we don't know when the next closing is going to be. So as you and I both know, that could be a little stressful. I said, I know it very well. He said, well, with this legal plan, when I sign somebody up, not only do I get paid a big commission up front, but then a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, the company pays us a residual income stream every month for the life of each and every customer that I refer to the company. I'm like, get out. And then he puts me on the phone with a guy who had been in the company several years. And he tells me about how he's getting residuals to the tunes of thousands and thousands a month from people he had signed up many years back. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to find time for this, but I'm going to figure out how to get involved and do this. And that mentor, the guy who became my mentor from that conversation, he said, Brian, you seem like you're super busy. I said, you have no idea. He said, do you like being that busy? I said, I don't know. I never really thought about it. He goes, what makes you think that if you keep on doing what you're doing 5 years from now, you'll be any less busy than you are today? And I'm like, you got me. He said, well, you need passive residual income, money that comes in whether you're working or not. That's how you're going to get the lifestyle that you say you want. So anyway, that conversation led me to getting started with that company part-time. And literally my first year, I made over $248,000 in income. Now, my disclaimer to that is not everybody's going to go do what I did. So there's no guarantees or promises of what you're going to accomplish in a business like that. But I leaned in and I went after it. And I made more money with this side business than I was making full-time in real estate. I told my family I was going to leave real estate. Everybody that I knew said I was, my dad called me an idiot. My brother called me a moron. My mom called me the next day when she found out and asked me if I was on drugs. So, the untraveled path, people, they go against you. They don't necessarily understand or support you. They're trying to protect you from yourself, or they think that they know better than you. I've gone on to make tens of millions of dollars from a little side business that just about everybody that knew me said I was a fool to even embark upon. So that's a little bit about kind of my story there.
What was the name of the company?
It used to be called Prepaid Legal. Now it's called Legal Shield.
Okay. So I have, I think a sister brand of that. It's like ID Shield or something like that. Is that right?
That's the other product that the company has for identity theft protection. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Joey's the one that told me about that. I didn't know. Joey, you getting a residual off me off of this all these years?
Listen, Russ, that's not the point of today's podcast.
No, I mean, what I heard in that discussion, the first thing, and maybe you heard this too, Tribe, he said, if the IRS comes in knocking, that you could call them. Like, I'm like, oh, I probably should have signed up for that. Like, I hope they never come call it, but that's always that safety card I'm considering. So you're working for the family business, and as entrepreneurs, I think so many of us hope that our kids would follow in our footsteps in some shape or form. And now you're treading away from that family business, and they're saying, you're a moron. Like, why are you doing this? How did you know, though, that you would be successful in that, Brian? Like, did you just go all in, or did you transition over time?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, we had, at the time I left, we had 24 offices all across Maryland, DC, and Virginia. Prudential Carruthers real estate signs were in everybody's yards all over the place. So, of course, people would expect that's why would Brian do anything ever but that? First of all, when I understood the residual income, which real estate does not offer. I mean, real estate investors and buy real estate so they get the residual cash flow from rental income. But as a real estate agent, selling houses and getting commissions, it's one and done. And until my eyes were opened by having the right conversations with the right people. See, most people don't have mentors in their lives that actually know any better and are willing to tell you the truth about certain things. A lot of, your boss wants you to just not know anything, just come to work every day and make them money. Your broker as a real estate agent, your broker doesn't want you to go find a better way. They want you to have to, need to chase the carrot to go out and chase the next sales and grind it out because they're getting overrides on you. So when I saw the value in the service and I said, I want this for myself, then I immediately thought, who else? Everybody else would benefit by having this service. I mean, 70-something% of Americans don't have a will, much less an up-to-date will. They don't have a will for, when their time comes. And that's an important thing. So when I saw the value proposition of the product, that made a lot of sense. When I saw the residual income, I said, I've got to find a way to do this. Now, was I expecting to walk away from the family business and go focus on nothing but this? That was not an initial expectation. But as it started to grow and grow, I started realizing I never, ever wanted to trade my time for money ever again. I mean, I hung up my real estate license. I don't even keep it just to even make referrals. I didn't even want to deal with continuing education hours. I was done. I found a better way. And so, and what's amazing about this is because of the business model, using the network marketing model, I'm able to recruit and show other people how to go out there and market the legal plan and the ID Shield so they can make extra money in their lives. Like that agent shared with me how I can do it in my life. And as that grew and grew and multiplied, I've been able to watch the team I've been able to develop and pour into. They've been paid over $500 million of income in their collective pockets.
All right. You said a couple of things. I want to break this out. One, I feel like there's a triggering word in there, network marketing. And we're going to talk about that in just 1 second. Because Trav, I know that you probably had somebody in your life maybe invite you into a network marketing company. And some of you have done it. We have friends that have, had very successful careers, and that is the business that they're in. But also you kind of alluded to something I think is an underlying issue with so many people, that when you're in a business that requires you to every single day, every single year, start over, I think the internal question that is rolling through people's mind is, will I die doing this? Right? Because if I don't have another path, will I die doing this? How many people that you're talking to that are ultimately coming and joining your team have some sort of similar question rolling around in their head?
I think the question can also be, will I die because of doing this? Right? I mean, but look, when people hear about, our business opportunity, for example, and look, not everybody, looks at what Legal Shield and says, oh, I want to get into the business of selling it. Most people just want the service just to use it in their own life. We've got 34,000 companies offering it as an employee benefit to their employees. 34,000 smart people who own and run companies looked at Legal Shield and ID Shield and said, look, we want you to come in and offer those services to our employees, to our valuable staff. I mean, that's like, so anyway, but it's funny because when I look at the business model and I said to myself, I would tell people about these services for free. The fact that they're going to pay me a big chunk of money every time I refer somebody to go get the service that I would tell about for free, I was excited about that. I was also excited when I got a chance to meet other people in the company who were working it a couple hours a week, which is all I could devote to it at the beginning. And they were making thousands of dollars of passive cash flow per month. I'm like, that could be life. That could be, I hate to say it, be cliche or life changing, but my life has changed because of the business. I was making six figures and grinding to make that six figures in real estate. I now make more in a month than I used to make in a year. And of course, I'm the exception, not the norm. Not everybody does what I did with this, but the freedoms it allows us. My wife, Melissa, and I, we've got 3 boys, and our kids have no idea what it'd be like to have a parent working outside of the home. And that was well before COVID. I mean, when COVID hit, we were already at home every day with our kids. So there was nothing different except we had to go wear a mask when we went out because they told us we had to. But anyway, I saw that all that to say that, you mentioned the words network marketing, and that some people might have some kind of a stigma attached to that. And I'll say this: I was one of those people. I almost missed what has literally had such an impact on my life. I've made tens of millions of dollars in a business that if I let that thinking hold me back when he showed me the services and then he said, hey, you want to get involved and market this and build residual income. If I heard him say the words network marketing, I might have been like, oh, is that one of those things? And I could have missed it. So I hope that people can kind of pause on this thought process. If that is something that popped into their mind, Russ, when you said the words, I hope that people can stop and say, okay, why is there such a stigma in my mind about that? What is my story? And a lot of times when I ask people what their story is behind it, we're like, oh, I don't want to get involved in a network marketing business. I'm like, oh, tell me about that. And tell me about what? Tell me what's your story? Why do you feel a certain way about an industry, about a business model? Oh, my mom or my cousin or my aunt got involved in some company and didn't make any money, and she had a garage full of products she couldn't sell, and she lost all that money. And well, okay, that doesn't mean that company was a bad company or the model was a bad model. Maybe she got into a company where she was marketing a product she wasn't good at marketing, or maybe they kind of put pressure on her to buy a bunch of products she shouldn't have had to buy. There's those kinds of things. But I can tell you, Russ and Joey, you're not going to open up my garage and have 100 attorneys come running out.
Let's hope not.
You're not going to open up my trunk and have a bunch of attorneys pop out. I mean, our service where people pay $30 a month and they got access to all these services from these attorneys across the country. Here's what I feel. And this is not supposed to be turning into some legal shill pitch. I believe that when, I've now written 4 books that have all become bestsellers on wealth building and entrepreneurship. And I speak on stages. I'm flying down to Dallas tomorrow to do one. I like to teach people how to create what they want. So I ask people, what is your end game? What do you want? I mean, my most recent book is this one, Untrapped, Freedom Manifesto, become an entrepreneur to escape the grind and find freedom and happiness. Well, most people live a life they can relate to that guy on that treadmill. I'm like, what do you want? That movie with, the good-looking dude and the Southern girl, I forget what it was. Notebook. Yeah. What do you want? Like, what do you want? I mean, what do you want in your life? People spend more time planning a 2-week vacation than they do planning out their life. Like, what's your vision for your life? Do you want to be financially free? Do you want to have the resources to be able to go travel and to be able to give to causes and be able to spend time with your kids and grandkids? And you want to live in a house that you prefer to live in versus the one you're in now? Like, what does that look like? Well, what will that require? Now, people say they want time freedom. I'm like, you'll never have time freedom if you're not financially free. If you have to keep trading your time for money, you have to keep giving it up to get more money. It's like it's like an addict. Like, you need to get your money fix. You have to keep giving away something to get the money. And so when you can build assets that will give you passive residual cash flow that comes in without you working, now you get the taste for the first time of what freedom actually feels like. That's what I have. That's what I teach. And that's what I've watched thousands of people that I've worked with accomplish. And so at the end of the day, when somebody says, oh, I don't want to get involved in a network marketing business, okay, fine. Go find a vehicle that will allow you part-time without giving up your day job and what's paying your bills and keeping you afloat. Find something you can do part-time that is going to give you the passive residual cash flow. And good. It doesn't have to be network marketing. I don't know what else there is that you're going to find, but you got to find that thing that's going to be your vehicle.
I think people want passive income, and that's why they're listening to you right now. The whole purpose of this show is to get more passive income than we have monthly expenses. And there's lots of different ways to build this residual income. You have to get active, or somebody has to be active for it to be passive. Sometimes we have to get active for it to then become passive. I really think it would be interesting if maybe we broke down the network marketing model, because I think certain people don't even know what that is. And Joey sells life insurance, by the way. So there's used car salesmen, there is door knockers, and then there's 50 other companies, and then there's people who sell life insurance, right? So network marketing, my guess, is above that. So I get the stigma that comes with certain industries, and I think some of it may be rightly earned, right? And everybody has bad apples in their industry. But first, would you break down what is network marketing? And then I would love to maybe try to pick it apart. Let's talk about what makes a good model, what makes a bad model. You mentioned you mentioned some of those things a second ago. I think that could be interesting because so many of us maybe have heard and then didn't do. We got people that have heard infinite banking. Ooh, that uses life insurance. Man, those guys all they do is selling life insurance. Someone do that, but never done it. And then you get this group over here. People put millions of dollars in it, and they're like, it's the best thing I've ever done. So, what is network marketing?
Well, let me first of all, let me just touch on the dig that you just had with Joey there. I know it's tongue in cheek, but at the same time, if there's anybody that says, "Oh, I don't like life insurance salespeople; they drive me crazy," well, you feel that way until you actually are on the receiving end of a life insurance policy, and you're certainly glad that person talked to an insurance agent and got a life policy, right? So everything is all about perspective. Something else I want to point out, it takes money to make money. So if you want passive residual income, there's 2 ways to do it. Either have money to put into assets that will pay you passively and residually. Most people will say, oh, it takes money to make money, therefore I'm going to stay poor the rest of my life because I don't have the upper hand like those rich people that already have the money and they just keep on making more money. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's true. It takes money to make money, or you find a business model that does not take a lot of money, and you put in some sweat equity. You put in work. You can work and build passive residual income. And it's funny because when I got into Legal Shield way back when, 25 years ago, it was a $249 startup fee to get set up as an associate in the company, to be able to have the ability to go out and build my own little business within the umbrella of Legal Shield. Or like our family real estate company, Brian Carruthers, our family did not work for Prudential. We owned our own real estate company under the umbrella of Prudential Real Estate. So people have to understand the perspective of when you get into a network marketing business, you're starting your own business. So when people say, "Oh, you have to pay to get a job at that company," no, you don't have a job at the company. You're starting your own business, and any business is some kind of a startup cost needed to get things going. Most businesses you got to spend six figures plus to open up a little franchise, a ice cream shop or a smoothie place or a restaurant or a cleaning service like Molly Maids or whatever. It costs money. I turned a $249 investment into my first $1 million in 2.5 years from my little home-based business. And I say little home-based business because people call it that. Hey, how's that little business going? Well, I'm making more in a month than you've made in the last 5 years. But yeah, it's going pretty well. But I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I'd be happy to unpack it.
Tribe, listen up. We're entering into the election year. This is the time where people are going to get super fearful. We're going to see businesses start to dry up. We're going to see opportunities, though, pile up for us only if we're prepared.
That's right. You get to choose right now. Will you allow this time frame to negatively affect you in your business and your investments? Or will you be prepared to take advantage of these huge opportunities that come on the backside of this because you're prepared with cash?
Let's get our house in order. If you haven't already maximized the infinite banking concept in your life, here's the chance for you to start learning. Go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/IBC. Take our free webinar so that you can start getting equipped with the things that you need to know so that you can take action on this looming event.
What are the components of it? Like, when someone says, "Hey, I'm getting into this network marketing business," what all do they need to be prepared for?
Well, first of all, why would a company that has a product or service they're trying to bring to the marketplace, why would they choose to use the network marketing model? Now, this is really funny and pretty cool. So Harlan Stonecipher, the founder of Legal Shield, he was a school teacher, and he sold insurance part-time. He had an accident in 1969 where his car was flipped over and beyond repair. He had auto insurance that got him a new car. He had health insurance for his hospital stay. He was there for over a week. He had life insurance, God forbid. Thankfully, he didn't need to use that. But while he's in the hospital, he was served papers. He was sued by the other driver. And and he had to go get an attorney right away. And he was defended, and he was defended well, and he was found not guilty. It was not his fault. He already knew it was not his fault, but he had to go through that whole legal process. He spent almost $7,000 in 1969. In today's dollars, you guys know that's tens of thousands of dollars. As a school teacher selling insurance part-time, that $7,000 was the last of his dollars. He had nothing. It wiped him out financially. He said there's got to be something he could have had in place ahead of time that would have taken care of the legal bills should something like that happen in somebody's life. Well, it didn't exist. So 3 years later, he founded this company and launched it in 1972. So the company's been around for over 50 years. I say all that to say, when he first started the company, he was basically selling the legal plan as a regular traditional salesperson. Like, he was selling it to people. And then he went out and hired other salespeople to go out there and sell it to people. Everybody basically was a salesperson working for the company. A guy comes along in the mid 80s and says, "Hey, there's a better way. What if you brought salespeople in and you told them you can go recruit other sellers and get a little override when they go out and sell the product? So now you're not, Harlan, you're not the one who has to go out there and recruit all these sellers. You can, your people who are selling can also bring other sellers on board and get a little piece. That'll grow the company." He said, I'm not a fan of this whole MLM, pyramid kind of a thing, but you make a compelling case. I'll let you try it, but you're not trying that within 500 miles of our headquarters in Ada, Oklahoma. So he went away 500 plus miles away from the company headquarters and started doing it. And it started getting traction all through the late 80s and into the 90s. And today, Now the company is a $2 billion company, went from publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, now even privately held, a $2.3 billion company. Why do I say all that? Because Harlan Stonecipher, the founder of the company that I've been in all these 25 years, also felt, oh, there's a stigma. I don't want anything to do with something like that.
So, at the baseline, network marketing is when, instead of doing ads, right, and running billboards and doing their own marketing from the company's perspective, they're taking those ad dollars and putting them on the you and me level for me to go tell my friends about it, so that then when they buy it, instead of all of that money go back to the company, they've already paid for all the advertising, then the rest go to overhead, then there's a profit. They don't have all of that advertising expense. It can be paid to me in the form of a commission as a salesperson. Is that right? Basically what you're saying?
100%. 100%. And here's the thing. People might say, well, I don't want to get involved in one of those because you're just going to make money off of me. The same person that utters those words says the same thing about, oh, my boss makes money off of me. Or if I was a real estate agent, my broker would make money off of me. So there's three forms of income. There's linear income, getting paid on what you do. Most people, that's how they get paid. Then there's leveraged income, getting paid on other people's efforts. Now, most people are being leveraged, but most people don't know that there are ways that they can have leverage working for them. And then you got the residual income. So you got linear income getting paid on what you do. You got leveraged income getting paid on what other people do. And then there's residual income getting paid over and over and over again for what you did one time. Now, I've always heard this said, if there's a $20 bill and a $5 bill sitting on the ground, what are you picking up? And some people say the 20, some smarter people are like, oh, both. Well, exactly. Well, if there's three forms of income, which ones do you want? Do you want just the linear income, or do you want some leverage? Do you want some residuals? So the network marketing model allows an everyday person like any of us to get started up in a side business, going out to spread the word about a product or a service that we like, that we're a consumer of ourselves, and we would tell people about it anyway. But yet they're going to pay us a referral commission for each person that we refer. If we know anybody else that wants to get involved and make some extra money for their household, we bring them aboard. They go out there and do that. They get the full commission, but the company has some money set aside from their coffers to pay an override to the person that recruited them. So now that person who recruited them is growing the company. The company's not having to grow the company. The people are attracting more people because they're the ones out in the marketplace having the conversations. And then everybody also has the residual income coming from it. So again, whether it's selling a legal plan like I do, or selling soaps, lotions, and potions, or an internet service, or an insurance product, or whatever. I mean, I just did a keynote for eXp Realty about a month and a half ago down in Dallas, and this company, some people that are in the traditional real estate world, which I spend my whole life in, I understand the real estate world. Some realtors are like, oh, well, that's a network marketing company. I like the traditional model. I like just getting paid on my sales. I don't want to get paid on anybody else's house sales. Okay, cool. You stay stuck in that little rat race. But eXp has grown from 3,000 agents when I first met them to 88,000 agents in the last 5 years. 3,000 to 88,000 agents. And that's not because there's one recruiter at the headquarters that's recruiting 88,000 people. It's agents recruiting agents, and everybody forms a team. They're supportive of each other. Here's the beauty of network marketing. It creates an alignment of interest. If Russ was a real estate agent in the same office as Joey, and Russ is doing 20 million a year in volume and Joey's doing only 2, and Joey goes, man, Russ, tell me what you're doing. What's your secret sauce? How are you getting all this business? Why in the world would Russ ever tell Joey his secret sauce? Joey would use it, go out there and scoop up his market share and take my food off of Russ's table in that case. But in a network marketing model like an eXp or whatever, guess what? Russ recruits Joey on board to be a part of his team. Russ is going to tell Joey everything he knows, everything he does, because he wants Joey to make as much money as Joey can, because the company's going to compensate Russ with an override on Joey's success. It doesn't take money out of Joey's pocket. Joey's going to be getting all his dollars are coming his way, but the company's going to reward Russ for that mentorship and that support and so forth. So that alignment of interest does not exist in corporate America. If it was in corporate America, if Russ was Joey's boss, why would Russ ever want Joey to know everything he knows? He'd take his job one day. So network marketing is a purest form of business and alignment of interest that exists on the planet. And until people understand that, they'll think whatever they want to think, and it doesn't serve them well.
Yeah. By the way, Russ shared everything he knew in about the first 30 minutes we ever knew each other, and then he was tapped out. So I knew it was on me from there. But let me push back, because there's a ton of really good stuff that you just said in there. But I'm sitting here, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not super outgoing. I'm this kind of person. I'm this. How could this possibly be a fit for me if I'm not just super outgoing and that sort of thing?
Well, here's the thing. Even the introvert, which, by the way, listening to me right now, I get on a little kind of a run, and I just get excited. But I'm an introvert. I met my wife on Match.com because I'm not the kind of guy that can just walk up to a girl successfully. I've tried it. I got shot down too many times. I tucked my tail, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I could be a keyboard warrior and find my dates on Match. But anyway, so your question of do you have to be a certain kind of a person to succeed at something like this? And how can anybody else succeed? Well, I was an introvert, but yet I still made some great things happen because there's systems and processes that I was able to, they teach you word for word, step by step, exactly how to go do it. So if you're willing to do the effort, do the work, and do it right, the way that they teach you, then you can succeed. But I'll give you an example. When I was living up in Maryland, I'm in Virginia now, but about an hour up the road, we were doing some Legal Shield events, and we've got a lady that came on board, and she's a very soft-spoken executive assistant in corporate America. So she was somebody's assistant, not an entrepreneur, not a salesperson, could never do like presentations of any kind. But yet she's got recognized a couple of years ago for making $2 million in the business. And it's funny because years back, after she made her first $1 million, I was doing an event, and I was asking Linda to come up on stage to tell everybody her quick 2-minute story. And I told her at the beginning of the event that I was going to ask her to do it. Well, when we went to ask some people to come up, she was nowhere to be found. Somebody went out in the hall and found her walking towards the bathroom. They're like, "Hey, Linda, Brian's calling you." She's like, No, I'm not. She was trying to go hide in the bathroom. She didn't want to go up and talk. But we got her up there, and she basically just said, "Here, my name is, and here's my background was, and yes, I've made over $1 million in this business, and I just do what they tell me to do, and this is how it's happened." That was the extent of her story. So I say that to say that if you can get somebody to watch a video by sending a link to them in a text, or back then it was email or a phone call, if you can invite somebody to a Zoom and have them watch a webinar for 30 minutes. If you can, after somebody's interested, if you can get them on the phone with somebody that's an expert in the company that can answer their questions and help sign them up for you. If you can do that, one of my friends calls it couch money. They're making multiple six figures now. And basically what he teaches his team, he said, "Look, can you sit on your couch for 15 or 20 minutes an evening, a few nights a week, and send out this text language to different people, whether people you know or people you don't know or on social media? Can you send out this link to a video, and those that respond and say, 'Hey, I watched it, I'm interested,' and then you have me talk to them for you? Can you do that?" Everybody's like, "Yeah, I can do that." See, back in the day when you had to be a salesperson and you had to go out and do 1-hour sales pitches or invite people out to hotel meetings, and it was a little bit more cumbersome back in the day. So some people were like, I can't fit that into my schedule, or it's out of my comfort zone. I don't want to have to go sell stuff to people. But nowadays with social selling and referring, and so it's just a different ball game. It was effective before, but it's even more doable now for people that have those restrictions.
That's awesome, Brian. Well, I knew that there would be a way based on your success and what you've been telling people for years and years. There's thousands and thousands of people that have been affected by you. And I even just love hearing the story offline before we got started about you just getting back from Guatemala and having the freedom to go and inspect a place that you've been investing in an orphanage down there. Talk about, like, when people want to take action on this, they want to learn more, they want to meet you and figure out ways that this could possibly be a fit. Where would you like them to go?
Part of my talk that I'm going to be giving in Dallas this weekend is about an acronym. I was speaking a year ago, February, out in Chicago. I was going downstairs in the elevator, going down to do the talk, and it just popped into my head. The word GAME, GAME, stands for Great Associations, Mentors, and Environment. And what that basically is all about is the best way to give yourself a chance to have success in anything that you want to pursue, whether it's playing the piano or playing golf or becoming a wealthy entrepreneur. If you've got game, you're going to have 1,000% better chance of succeeding than if you don't have game. If you wanted to learn the piano or sing, you would go find John Legend. You want to learn how to play golf, go get with, Tiger Woods' dad or get with Tiger Woods or Tiger's coach, but most people don't have access to mentors like that. So great associations, your associations of people that you are spending the most of your time with, they're working on you. They're making you become who you're becoming. Yeah, you hang out with 5 broke friends, you're bound to be the 6th one. Hang out with 5 millionaires, you're bound to be the 6th one. If they drink, you'll drink. If they smoke, you'll smoke. If they curse, you'll curse. If they go to church, you'll go to church. You ever see somebody hanging out with their pet so much they start looking like their dog? Right? So you become who you spend the most time with. And some people, that's a little bit of a warning. Like sometimes people have like their spouse is like somebody who's bringing them down instead of bringing them up, right? So who are your associations? You have great associations making you better. Then great mentors. Who's your mentor? I ask people that question all the time. They're like, oh, my dad, my mom. No, that's your parent. A mentor is somebody who's achieved great success in something that you're pursuing and is willing to take their valuable time and energy to expend it with you to help you get to where they've gotten to. Most people don't have a mentor like that. So, but you need that person in your life, a mentor to help you go where you want to go, to get there or get there 10 times faster. And then a great environment. Money like water, speaking of money, seeks its own level. If you're a $50,000 a year earner, how are you ever going to make $250,000 a year? You get paid in direct proportion to the value you bring to the marketplace. So maybe you're in the right place, right time. Somehow you get lucky and you're now suddenly making $250,000 a year. It's going to come right back down to who you are. If you're a $50,000 person and you're now making $250,000 a year, at some point it's going to come back down to $50,000. You ever see somebody win the lottery and then 5 years later they're broke again? They had millions of dollars, but they were not a millionaire in their mindset and their skill level and so forth. So I say all that to say you got to get into an environment where you're going to become the $250,000 person, where personal development and people that are going to be uplifting you and guiding you and so forth. So if you've got game, great associations, mentors, and environment, then you can have massive success. And so when I tell people, if you're looking at a network marketing business, okay, of course you need to make sure it's a product that you vibe with and they've got a good compensation plan, which most will have something that will pay you fairly. But you got to look at it. Are there great associations? Who are the people that you're going to be spending time with? Who are the mentors that you're going to be a mentee of? What's the environment look like? Is it all infused in personal development and so forth? So when people ask me to tell them about what I do with Legal Shield, of course I'll tell them a little bit about the legal plan or let them watch a video about it or the ID Shield. I tell them that there's all 3 forms of income and so forth. But most importantly, I tell them, hey, you're going to get game here. You're going to get around associations that will help you to become who you want to be. You're going to get mentors like me who will be pouring their lives and their energy into you to help you get where you want to go. And you're going to be in an environment that's going to help you to win. So all that to say, like, for example, these books, I wrote this little book and it's this, the other ones are actually real books. These are the other books that I've written, but this is like a little booklet. And anybody who's got interest in learning how to stop repelling and start attracting money, because a lot of people, unfortunately, unconsciously, they don't even know that they're repelling money because they've got money as they've been wired and programmed that the love of money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy and you don't want to be like them. And so you're pushing money away without even knowing it. So in the book, I kind of help to reprogram and help you get recondition you to wanting to attract money, and then helping you to get all 3 forms of income. So if you want a copy of this book, I'm sure we'll be able to put a link in there so they can just go put in their information, and we'll send you a digital copy of the book. If you want information about Legal Shield, of course, I open arms. I'd love to chat with you about that and see if it's a good fit. It may or may not be for you. I don't know, but I can tell you, you'll have game. You'll have a great product you can be, very proud of it to tell people about, and you'll get paid, incredibly well with the way that all 3 forms of income are. And then lastly, because we're talking about a legal service, anybody that is on here right now and can honestly say that they do not have their household affairs in order. They don't have their will, their living will, their financial, their healthcare power of attorney. if you want to get that stuff done and you don't want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 to do it, which I don't blame you. It's a lot of money to get a lawyer to do that right. I will send you, again, you can just click the link below and we'll get you a 45-minute free recording. I helped record this. 2 of the top estate planning attorneys in the country did a 45-minute webinar about the estate planning and the wills and that whole process. And so if you want to watch that at no cost, I will send that video over to you. You watch it, because one of the things that we got to do is if you're a man or a woman of your household, we got to have that kind of thing done for sure. As part of the wealth process, not just about getting money and keeping money and growing your money, but you got to have all these other components in place properly. I want to make sure you guys have that value.
Brian, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. So Tribe, as you heard Brian breaking this down, he says there's 3 things really in the network marketing space. You got to believe in the product or service. You need to understand the company and its compensation plan, and you need to understand do they have a great training plan? Do they have game, as he called it? Now, Joey hasn't had game in most things, but he has done a really good job associating himself with good mentors, being in great environments, in spite of having poor partners like me that constantly give him grief. Brian, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Tribe, for listening to this episode. And if you found value, take time to rate and review the show. Have an amazing day.
This has been the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to break free of the Wall Street mindset and begin building wealth on your own terms in places you understand, so that your wealth will never run dry. See you next episode.